Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and brace yourself for one hell of a frontline changes report because there's so much things happening because of the Kursk offensive, and there's also intel drop on the Avdiivka front at the Vodyane sector of the Donetsk front. So no, a lot of things, a lot of crazy shit, and yeah, both sides can be happy. So both pro-Ukrainian and pro-Russian guys, you can stick around and watch because you guys will have different things to be happy about. So let's there's a so there are frontline changes over at Karinovo, the western front lines in the Kursk front, central front line Leonidovo, and then Suja, the eastern front lines or at the Kursk front because there's too many settlements got captured, so I just have to use a blanket name for it. Below Horivka over at the Sivers front, Sperne, Perezne or at the Sivers front, Rosalivka, and then we have Stukish book Gobol, this near Ivanivsky, and then Pivnishny, New York, Lisichny, Serhievka, Zeleny region, Ivanivka region, Mezove, Novoselivka, Persia, and the Vodyane region. So a lot of frontline changes. So we're gonna go to the Kursk front. So the Kursk front is very cursed because very cursy. A lot of changes since the last frontline changes report. As you can see, the yellow zones are a lot. So we previously I have already done the Kursk update, so you can watch that. There is of course a bit more updates after that video, but most of the general idea, a lot of the objective, the analysis, and what is to come is all covered in that half an hour video. So I highly recommend you to watch. I put the link at the end of this video. So the Ukrainian forces actually expanded a lot of control. So we go on the western part. The Ukrainian forces have captured Obuhovka, Borovskiev, Toskilosh, Lyubimovka, and I cannot read this name because I covered it. And then the Zeleny, I can't read that also. Novo Ivanovka, this is something new that was not covered in the Kursk update. Leonidovo, and the Ukrainian forces also have arrived to the area of Krylenkoye, Balayak Loknya, Nikoski, Loknya, and they have captured Lebedevka. So this is the full front line at this current juncture. And there was a previous incident where the Ukrainian recon or vanguard forces stomped all the way near to Korenevo, but they got stopped, and the Russian forces allegedly have retaken all this position. And the battle is now at the outskirts over in this Novo Ivanovka region. So this is the current, latest frontline changes over at this sector of the Kursk front. So the Kursk front is huge. I think, if I'm not wrong, is bigger than the Kharkiv front by area. So the Ukrainians have done a good job, breaking through. All the Russians have did a super bad job at defending or not preempting this offensive. So there is no as far as I understand, the Russian regular forces is not engaged in the battle yet. The current fighting is done by the police, border guards, and I think some special forces. There might be some special forces related, maybe first reaction forces, but generally it is still local militias that is actually dealing with it. The regular army is not here yet. But of course we have the air force and whatnot. So the Lancers and the air force. So there is some professional elements that's already engaging because they are flying, so they can fly faster, they can reach here faster. But the regular ground forces is not here yet. So usually it takes around 3 days at least for the ground forces to form up. So it happens during the Belgorod offensive as well. And then over in the southern flank, so we can call this the northern flank and the southern flank. So at the southern flank, the Ukrainian forces also take many grounds, and they have captured Gogorovka, Ruban, Ruban Shechna, and then they are fighting over in the Suja city. So the Suja city, there's actually other neighborhood that have different names, like Goncharovka. This one is the very Chinese sounding name, Zaloshinsky or Zaloshinsky. So Ukrainian forces is currently have took like a huge chunk of Suja. I think they almost fully captured it, and they also have captured Leshnia. What is this place called? Because it's covered. Melovoy, Kurilovka, Gruyevo, and Gornel. So all this region here is captured by the Ukrainian forces, and most of this area here is along the river. This is actually there's a river here, so most of this region here will be fully secured. The Ukrainian forces would fully secure this area here. They were going to be sending troops to build trenches and fortifications and guarding this entire river line. So I think that's going to happen for the Ukrainians. Then the Russians have not really reacted fast enough, fighting in the Sudzha region. So we shall see how this is going to develop. But this is a lot of frontline changes, a lot of capture by the Ukrainian forces, and are very successful thus far. So the initial stage, due to the lack of intel, it looks like it has been pretty much a failure, because the amount of capture is too small for a major offensive. But with this added in, then I would say that I will correct myself to say that this offensive is not that bad. It's not that bad. It's actually not bad. So, but they're unable to break through to Sudzha. No, they need to break through here, and then they will have a very, very firm foothold in this region here. So tentatively, they is not here yet, but anyway, we will continue to we'll talk more about it during the situation report. So we go on. So there's a lot of markers, a lot of things happening. So I'm not going to cover it because that's the situation report stuff. We are focusing on the frontline changes. The next frontline change after this region is over at the Sivers front, and now the pro-Ukrainian guys, things are starting to get very red. So, it's not going to be such an enjoyable watch from now on. And for the pro-Russian one, they're still here. Wow, well done, man. Well done. Good job. Is the emotional damage tasty? So anyway, there is frontline change over the Bilohorivka region. This is covered in the situation report yesterday, with the Russian forces taking some grounds in the north of this hilly region at Bilohorivka. So small thing over here. And there is frontline changes. So over at the Sperne, south of Sperne region, Ukrainian mapping have mapped that the Russian forces have taken some grounds south of Sperne. So they reduced the claim, and tentatively this entire area is now, from the Russian mapping, is actually under Russian control. So the Ukrainians are slowly retrogradating their claims. We shall see how long it takes before they actually have similar front lines. So the next frontline change is over in the Rozdolivka region, Peresne region. So based on two geolocations, and these two geolocations influence the Ukrainian mapping. So now the Ukrainian mapping have now acknowledged that the Russian forces have fully secured Rozdolivka, and they are now heading towards Peresne as the Russian forces head down this railway line towards Peresne direction along the Peresne region. So this is the frontline change over at the Rozdolivka Peresne region. The next frontline change is over at let me see, where are we? Peresne, Rozdolivka, Stupki, Golubovsky 2. So which is actually this forest region. So this is also covered in the situation report yesterday. So Ukrainian forces geolocated in the forest, meaning that they have actually done some capture, or they were never left there. They never left there. They were always been there. So that's one thing. That's frontline change over here. The next frontline change, we go all the way to Pivnishne over at the New York front. At the New York front, at the Torak sector, there is this is covered in the situation report yesterday. Ukrainian forces weirdly landed troops all the way in this area. So that put into question into whether this entire area is actually under firm Russian control, or this is merely a gray zone with the Russians previously geolocated in that direction. So whatever it is, this is a major frontline change. So this actually changes the strategic and tactical situation right here, with the Ukrainian forces still holding some positions within Pivnishne itself in the southern sector of the town. So we go on. There is some map correction. I'm not sure is this a capture or a correction, because I just noticed there is some slight difference on the right Deep State UA's mapping. So Russian lines is actually here. So I'm not sure if there is a capture over here, some movement, or it was just something that I missed out previously. So this is some updates on the eastern outskirts of New York. Then after this area, we go all the way to the Avdiivka front. And as you can see, some major updates around this sector. So over at the Avdiivka front, you can see the intel drop on around this area, and the Russian forces continue to break the Ukrainians' front line. And based on this situation, the front line continues to be in the pretty collapsed status on the Ukrainian side. It's still not well. Things is still not well for this sector. So there is frontline change over in the Lysychyne region and Ivanyivka region with Ukrainian forces wrong color. Ukrainian forces have not been able to hold the line as the Russians take another tree line getting close to Lysychyne. The Russians also have threatened Lysychyne from the south, as well as 3/4 of Ivanyivka is now under Russian control. So this is particularly depressing, I would say, for the Ukrainians, because now the Russians can now attack Lysychyne from two different angles right now. So from two different sectors, and I think battles is going to start at Sivridonivka very, very soon. The Russians also make some progress in the south of Ivanyivka, which then also threatens another angle of attack. So this is pretty bad. I think the lines here is still pretty much in tatters. It's going to take some time before the Ukrainians going to find this firm line that can hold back the Russian forces. So, and over at this Horodivka region, so over the Vasily region, Russian forces secured Vasily, and they are now heading all the way to the outskirts of Horodivka. They're basically right at the doorstep, and they have fully captured the settlements south of Vasily in this region here. So anyway, this is the important part. The Russians can now attack Horodivka very soon. But of course, I don't think they will go for it, because this is just a frontal attack. I think they will find another angle so that they have two vectors of attack before they will go for it. Because Horodivka is a decent sized town or small city. So over at Serhievka, Zeleny region, as expected, Russian forces quickly captured the entire of Serhievka. This is what I previously have analyzed. Most likely it's going to happen due to how it's difficult for the Ukrainians to hold the line. Ukrainians are not in Serhievka. Russian forces just walked in. And Zeleny, as predicted, has fallen. Pretty much most of it. Not fully captured yet, but the entire eastern half is gone. And the entire northern part is also gone. So it's only left with this southeastern sector of Zeleny, where the Russians have already cut off the retreat on this area here. So the Ukrainians can only retreat from these two areas, these two roads, and I think the Zeleny were going to be falling within the next 24 hours entirely to the Russian side. So this is the current situation over the Serhievka region, which means the battle is going to go straight to Olivka very, very soon, and the Russians is going to continue to go down this railway and change the entire strategic picture at this sector. So if we zoom out a bit, we can see the Russians capture in this area here is a tremendous amount of changes, and the entire strategic picture here looks a little bit different right now. So with the Russians attacking in these areas, that Lysychyne is now under threat. Ivanyivka is going to fall. Vasily has been secured with threatening attack into Horodivka. Serhievka is now captured, fully captured. Zeleny is going to fall very, very soon. Battle is going to go up this gully to find another vector of attack on Horodivka. They also can push towards Zuravka, cut this into half, and they can also go down the railway and then bring the battle to Mykolaiivka or towards Novohorodivka. And fighting is already reported at Mykolaiivka, by the way, by the Russian Defense Ministry. So the battles is already moving. We are just trying to catch up with what is happening on the reality. So despite whatever great news for the Ukrainians over at the Kursk offensive, the reality over at the Avdiivka front has not changed. They're still terrible. And a lot of pro-Ukrainian commentators on the OSIN are very, very critical of the Ukrainians launching an attack on Kursk. Personally, I think as long as it's very well prepared, they have a strong enough force to capture and hold ground in Kursk, I think it's a very, very good move. Although I would have pretty much preferred that they have done this a year ago to capture Belgorod, and then they would have an entirely different posture against Russia, and they will have a much stronger position in the peace negotiations that may come when the Ukrainians have enough of fighting. So, but tentatively, it's still unclear, but the Kursk offensive, the Ukrainians are very, very well prepared. So, but it does, like I said, it doesn't change the reality over at the Avdiivka front. So at the Avdiivka front, there is still one more updates over at Mezove. The Russian forces continue to push south of this tree line, continue to threaten Mezove from the east. Whereas over in the south of Novoselivka, Persia, there is some updates on the mapping, but I don't think this matters because this is the farmland. So I believe that the main push is going to be from this Mezove region. They push south to Skushny and encircle potential Ukrainian forces that is still in this area here. So they're going to force a retreat and to speed up the capture of this entire area. So that's the current situation over in the Novoselivka, Persia region. So the next frontline change after Novoselivka, Persia, we go all the way to Vodyane. So over at the Donetsk front, south of Konstantinivka, northeast of Novoleda, is the Vodyane region, and there's intel drop based on the mapping from Ukrainian side. So there is this massive capture being now updated by the Ukrainian side. So so can I zoom in? Oh, okay, it's too big. It's too big to even zoom in. So Russian forces basically have captured and advanced across entire 3 sectors. So we previously have this update where the Russian forces plant a flag along the highway, and then we have this update over on the most southern vector of attack north of Mikhailsk. Now the other 3 vectors has been updated with Russian progress. So there is 5 vectors of attack, not including the Battle of Konstantinivka and the south of Konstantinivka. Total is 6, I would say. So all the sectors are now progressing, and now we are looking at this sector is around 1.5 kilometers or 1.48 kilometers. This area is 1.62. The closest point at this area is around 1.2 kilometers. And over this other line is 2 kilometers. And the southernmost vector of attack is 3 kilometers all along the highway. So the Russians are going to, as I mentioned, go for this capture. This is what they're going to do. And then they will start to attack into Vodyane, and then take the mines, go around Voleda, and do this pincer, totally cut off Voleda, and then they can capture this fortress city. So this is definitely ongoing. The Russians are making progress very quickly. This is a lot of grounds captured, but of course, nothing compared to the Kursk, the super duper uber Kursk offensive, which is a very, very nice name. I really like the Kursk offensive. It sounds very duplicitous. It's either Kursk or cursed. Anyway, these are all the frontline changes report. So a pretty long one. So thank you for watching. Do press the like button, subscribe. Look out for the situation report. Watch the Kursk update video because these go into severe details, like really, really detailed coverage of what happened so far. And I'll see you guys in the next update.